Hey, what's going on, guys? UFC 295, Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira just ended, and this is going to be my full card post-fight. I'm going to go through every single fight on the card and give you my reaction and breakdown, starting off with the first fight of the night, Jamall Emmers versus Denis Buzukja. Jamall Emmers gets a nasty KO in the first round. This card had a crazy amount of knockouts on it, but Jamall Emmers was aggressive often. He was landing some kicks and then lands a picture-perfect right hand, drops Denis Buzukja and follows him to the ground and finishes him off with ground and pound. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this fight, but Jamall Emmers was robbed against Jack Jenkins. Should have won that fight. I thought Jamall Emmers would win this fight with his grappling. He goes out there, he's aggressive early. He looked good. The head movement looked good. And then it was a picture-perfect right hand that sat down Denis Buzukja. And it was basically over from the second that right hand landed. He really had nothing to offer after that. So nasty first round KO for Jamall Emmers. Moving up on the card, we have Joshua Van versus Kevin Borjas. Honestly, I picked Van in this fight, and after that first round, it was looking like Borjas may win this fight. Borjas was looking good in the first round. Nasty hands, nasty leg kicks. Everything was through with nasty power. And even in the first round, Van got rocked quite a bit with, I think it was a 1-2 twice that really clipped him. One of them, he was kind of rocked pretty bad. But it was clear first round for Borjas. But then the second round, it was like Borjas started to fade. Joshua Van just starts marching him down and ripping body shots over and over and over again. Van wins the second round. Then the third round, a little bit more competitive, but it's just Van walking him down. At one point, he got a takedown, started looking for a heel hook. You had Borjas scramble back to his feet. And then at one point, Borjas hurt Van as he's walking him down. I think he hurt him with a right hand, and then it was a nasty knee that he landed, but then Van got a takedown right after that. There were some scrambles. At one point, Borjas looked like he was going to take his back, but Van ultimately ended up on top, and Van was winning the majority of the standing exchanges in that third round, outside of where he got hit with those two big shots, the punch and the knee, and then he had some top control, and he had multiple takedowns in the third round. I think he had 3 takedowns. He didn't do a whole lot with them, but he had 3 takedowns. He was edging him out on the feet, and then the fact he had a little bit of top control, and he was literally walking him down in the third round as well. So I had it 29-28 for Joshua Van, winning rounds 2 and 3. And talk about overcoming adversity, because it was not looking good. I mean, Borjas' striking looked clean in that first round, but then afterwards it was like Van was pressuring him, literally like Strickland was pressuring Abus Magomedov. Van was just like, I'm going to walk this guy down and rip to the body. Nasty hooks to the body. Joshua Van with a great performance. Moving up on the card, we have Kyung Ho Kong versus John Castaneda. This was probably the worst fight of the night. John Castaneda wins via unanimous decision. First round was kind of uneventful. John Castaneda barely winning. Second round, Castaneda started to land more shots, got a couple takedowns. Didn't do a whole lot with it. Kong was able to work back to his feet. And then in the third round, Castaneda started to pick it up more, land some decent combinations, was walking him down, was landing leg kicks throughout the fight. And I had John Castaneda winning all 3 rounds. And Kyung Ho Kong, really, it just seemed like he never picked up the pace, even when he was losing the fight. I mean, there was a possibility he took round 1. It was kind of uneventful. I thought Castaneda took it. But then it was like Kong clearly lost round 2. And then in the third round, there was no urgency from him. And you had Castaneda just mixing in his striking with his grappling, getting some top control. Kong was working back to his feet, but still, it's like Castaneda was clearly winning. He clearly won the second and third round. First round, you could make a debate, but I had Castaneda 3-0. Moving up on the card, we have Jarrett Gordon versus Mark Madsen. Jarrett Gordon gets a first round KO. It was a nasty right hook. It didn't even look like it landed that hard, to be quite honest, and it just melted Mark Madsen. Literally looked like he took a dive. That's how bad this fall looked for Mark Madsen. And honestly, Mark Madsen was winning up until this point. I like this pick. I picked Mark Madsen. He was walking him down, kneeing him to the body, kind of bullying Jarrett Gordon, landing good shots in that fight. And it was just, it looked like Mark Madsen's going to win this fight. Jarrett Gordon, it's not like he's a guy to go out there and nuke a guy with a right hand. And Mark Madsen's walking him down. A lot of times he's looking for the Muay Thai clinch, leaning on Jarrett Gordon's neck, landing knees to the body, just kind of bullying him. And then boom, out of nowhere, Jarrett Gordon starts throwing back, landed a left elbow in the clinch, and then followed by a right hand, just slumped Mark Madsen. Mark Madsen's striking just isn't that good. It really isn't that good, but it's like he relies on his clinch game, and he was looking okay on the feet, to be honest, but he just got clipped with a perfect shot, I guess, because it really didn't look that hard, but it kind of landed on that ear area, and it just put him down. And honestly, there was an uppercut before the clinch exchange that I think really hurt him. DC was talking about it on commentary too. He actually saw it happen. And there was an uppercut in a clinch exchange where Mark Madsen was getting the better of him. Gordon landed an uppercut, kind of buckled Mark Madsen a little bit, and that's kind of what was the beginning of the end for Mark Madsen. They ended up clinched up against the fence. Madsen had his back up against the fence, and that's when there was another uppercut that partially landed, and then it was a left elbow, and then it was a right hand that finished Mark Madsen off. Nasty first-round KO for Jared Gordon. I didn't think he was going to pull that off by any means. Moving up on the card, we have Nazim Sadykhov versus Vyacheslav Borshev. This was a great fight. It ended up being a draw. I agreed with the decision for a draw. First round, Borshev was landing the better shots. Stuffed a few takedowns. It was a competitive fight, but Borshev, I thought, clearly won the first round. Second round, there was a left hand for Sadykhov and then a high kick that hurt Borshev badly. There was nasty ground and pound. I thought it could have been stopped multiple times. Borshev was kind of out on the ground, and then he got back up, and then he got taken back down again, and Sadykhov was looking for a submission but wasn't able to find it. It was near the end of the round. It was a clear 10-8 second round, and I thought, oh, Sadykhov is going to be able to, win the third round, bare minimum, or finish him in the third round. Borshev recovered good in between rounds, and he came out in that third round, and he got taken down multiple times, but was able to scramble right back to his feet, which he's shown an improvement because his weakness has been for a while his takedown defense. And in that third round, he got taken down 3 times. He got right back up, didn't let, Sadykhov really control him for any extended periods of time, and he was landing on the feet. Only, I think it was at the end of the third round, there was a takedown where Borshev, it was like the last 10 seconds, was working back to his feet against the fence, and Sadykhov did some damage, just a little bit of damage, landing a couple punches as he worked his way back up. But outside of that, in the grappling, Sadykhov didn't do much at all in that third round. So I had 1-3 for Borshev. I had 2-10-8 for Sadykhov. So I thought it was perfect that it was a draw. I think it was fitting that it was a draw, and it was a great fight, to be quite honest. Moving up on the card, we have Mateusz Rebecki versus Roosevelt Roberts. This is an easy fight to break down. It was an armbar submission from Rebecki. It was pretty much an easy win for Rebecki. Roosevelt Roberts came in on short notice. Rebecki got a takedown. Roosevelt tried to scramble out of it, ends up giving up his back. They ended up against the fence where Rebecki was on his back with both hooks in, and he just scrambles for the armbar. He gets a verbal tap, and Roosevelt Roberts really didn't have a chance. Just got out-grappled in this fight badly. But he did take it on short notice. I think he took it on 4 or 5 days notice. So I feel bad for Roosevelt Roberts. He gets this opportunity, but Rebecki just took him down and literally mauled him. I mean, Roosevelt Roberts scrambled back to the feet the first time, but then after that, the second he got back to his feet, Rebecki was already on his back, took him right back down, sunk the hooks in. Great transition to the back for Rebecki. He locked those hooks in very quick, and then transition to the armbar was phenomenal. They were up against the fence, which usually it's kind of hard to get a submission there, but Rebecki was able to find the armbar and tap out Roosevelt Roberts. And Roberts was kind of looking at his arm and wrist weird, so it wasn't a great camera angle where we could see what happened. But I think he might have hyperextended his elbow at the bare minimum, but he was looking at his arm. Something definitely happened to his arm, but Rebecki gets it done. Moving up on the card, we have Tabitha Ricci versus Lupita Godinez. This ended up being a split decision for Lupita Godinez, and it should not have been a split decision. It should have been a unanimous decision. I scored it Lupita Godinez 30-27. I thought she took all 3 rounds. The first round, Lupi was clearly winning the first round, stuffing takedowns, landing good shots, even rocked her early in the round. I think the first minute or 2, she rocked her. And then at the end of the round, Lupi got overconfident, got clipped with a shot, but it was the last 5 seconds. I thought round 1 was clearly Lupi. Round 2, Lupi was winning. She was landing good shots. She was stuffing takedowns. And then it was a little bit more competitive round, so it was a closer round. Then at the end of the round, there was a head clash that dropped Lupi. So some people were saying, oh, that should get her the round. No, it was a head clash. I saw it in real time, but some people thought she just got dropped. There wasn't a lot of damage done afterwards, so I would have still gave it to Lupi for the work she did prior. But maybe if you thought that was a drop, you could give that round to Tabitha Ricci. And then the third round was kind of an ugly round. Lupi was starting to slow down. Tabitha Ricci's punching air for the entire fight, including the third round, getting stuffed on takedowns. And I thought Lupi won the third round as well. Just landed the better shots, was landing the left hand repeatedly. But one judge gave it to Tabitha Ricci 30-27. Outright delusional. What was he looking at? Was he just staring at Tabitha Ricci's ass the whole fight? How could he dare give it 30-27? The only round that I think you could give to Tabitha Ricci is the second round. But even then, I don't even think, even if you think the head clash is a drop, I still wouldn't give it to Tabitha Ricci. I thought it was clearly Godinez. I thought she took the first, second, and third round. If anything, maybe the third round, but even then, I don't think she takes the third round either. Honestly, both of them have a lot of work to do. Tabitha Ricci punching a lot of air. Lupita Godinez, I think she's improving. I think she's decently well-rounded, but still, these are very low-level women's MMA fighters. I'm not going to, I know the UFC sometimes starts overhyping fighters. I'm not going to overhype either one of these women fighters. Lupita Godinez, I think, could be a future prospect, but right now we have to pump the brakes. She gets it done 30-27, almost gets robbed brutally in a split decision, which would have been absolutely crazy. Moving on to the featured prelim, we have Steve Erceg versus Alessandro Costa. What a fight this was. This was an incredible fight outside the third round. First round, Erceg hurt Costa, hurt him with straight punches, was checking kicks, ended up rocking him, I think, at the end of the first round, ended up full mounting him, looking for a rear naked choke, wasn't able to find it. Erceg clearly wins the first round. The second round, Costa hurts Erceg multiple times. I think it was both times with a right hand. At one point, he looks for a flying armbar. Erceg's able to survive, but then the third round, Erceg comes out and just clinch stalls for the entire third round. Honestly, it wouldn't have hurt my feelings if Erceg somehow got robbed just for what he did in the third round, but it was clear Erceg won the first and third round, so it should have been a 29-28 decision. I think all three judges had it 29-28. Both guys looked good outside of the third round, but Erceg really did what he had to do. He got rocked badly twice in that second round, and I don't want to say almost submitted, but I think he got taken down once. After Costa hurt him, or Costa followed him to the ground, landed some follow-up shots. Then when he got back up, when Erceg scrambled back up, he ended up going for a flying armbar and then ended up back on top. And I know Rogan was saying, oh, he's making bad decisions. I mean, he went for these finishes. He went for the flying armbar. It was close to the end of the round. I think he also went for the takedown at the end of the round as well. It was all like in the last 2 minutes of the round. So I don't think it was a horrible decision considering he already banked that round by winning it, by landing big shots, not by winning it, but by landing those big shots and hurting him. But ultimately, I think both guys looked pretty good. Third round was, it was just Costa couldn't get his back off the fence. Erceg was still rocked, I guess, so he was just holding him against the fence and just trying to eke out a win, and that's exactly what he did. I thought he won 29-28. Moving on to the main card. First up, we have Diego Lopez versus Pat Sabatini. What a fight this was. Sabatini landed a good shot early, but then that was it. That was it. There was a couple double leg takedowns from Sabatini. Lopez was defending him well. One of them, I think the last one, he was in really good on the double leg takedown, but you had Lopez defend it, lands a nasty right hand. Sabatini starts running for his life, turns away. Lopez follows up, swarms him, follows him to the ground, hammer fist, and absolutely starches out Pat Sabatini. Great win for Lopez. Pat Sabatini, a lot of people don't know him, especially if you're not a hardcore fan. Pat Sabatini's a really good fighter. He has really good wrestling. He has really good jiu-jitsu. His hands aren't that good, and that obviously cost him in this fight, but he was in on at least one good takedown. Couldn't get Diego Lopez down. He defended him well. The hands were locked behind the legs, and Lopez immediately started pulling him up to his level, defending the takedown, and then as soon as they broke out of that clinch position, boom, nasty right hand that rocked Sabatini. I want to see this fight. I advocated for it before. Give me Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. And I know you're going to say, oh, Brian Ortega's ranked number 3 in the featherweight division. Why would he fight Diego Lopez? Brian Ortega's been squatting on that ranking for literally years. He has one win in like the last 4 years. I don't have it in front of me, but it's against the dead body of Korean Zombie. I mean, really, he's ranked number 3? What a joke. Diego Lopez has more right to that number 3 ranking than Brian Ortega does, so book that fight. Diego Lopez, Joe Rogan was already calling him a star. I think that's a little bit delusional, but I think Diego Lopez has that quality where people kind of cling to him, especially considering he's the guy that came in on short notice, fought a top-ranked guy in Movsar Evloev and made it very competitive. Now he's going out there and starching a guy like Pat Sabatini. I want Diego Lopez in a top 15 fight next. It'll be unacceptable if he does not get a top 15 fight next. Would love to see it. Great win. Starched out Pat Sabatini. I cannot say enough praise for Diego Lopez. Moving up on the card, we have Matt Frevola versus Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis gets a first round head kick KO. Absolutely filthy. The fight was really fun while it lasted. You had Benoit Saint Denis and Matt Frevola both kind of landing some kicks. Benoit Saint Denis throws a nasty body kick where Frevola lifts up the knee to check the kick, falls down from that body kick, and as he's getting up, Benoit Saint Denis starts looking for a guillotine. He pulls guillotine, pulls guard, ends up losing the guillotine, then immediately looks to sweep Frevola. He reverses Frevola. Frevola scrambles back to his feet, gets in on a double leg takedown. picks up Benoit Saint-Denis, slams him to the ground, but immediately, as soon as he got to the ground, Benoit Saint-Denis, within 5 seconds, starts looking to get to a hip and get back to his feet. He gets back to his feet. They end up in the clinch. I think Matt Frevola lands a knee to the body. Then he's like, you know what? I'm going to escape here. Starts circling out of the clinch from Benoit Saint-Denis. And he thinks he's safe. He thinks he's out of range of Benoit Saint-Denis. The hands are kind of low. Benoit Saint-Denis throws a picture-perfect head kick, catches Matt Frevola right on the top of the head, and outright sleeps him right then and there. Matt Frevola falls down. He's done. He's out right there. Benoit Saint-Denis follows up with some ground and pound shots just for good measure, and the ref steps in. Benoit Saint-Denis is an outright savage. Dude calls himself the God of War. He's the God of War. And then he calls out Justin Gaethje. He calls out a bunch of guys, but he calls out Justin Gaethje afterwards. I want to see it booked. Benoit Saint-Denis the BMF. I won't even, if they book Justin Gaethje versus Benoit Saint-Denis for the BMF, I won't even complain. Benoit Saint-Denis is one of my favorite fighters to watch. I mean, how can you not like this guy? And the way he performed, I mean, and he's got such a good skill set, so well-rounded. He has great jiu-jitsu. I mean, he doesn't accept bottom position at all. He has nasty power, crazy durability, good stamina, good output. I mean, how can you criticize Benoit Saint-Denis? I don't want to see these lightweights like Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje turn down fights. Oh, I'm not fighting him, blah, blah, blah. Benoit Saint-Denis should be in the top 15 now. I don't know. I'm not looking at the rankings right now. He should be like 12, 13. I don't know where Matt Frevola was, but I want to jump up Benoit Saint-Denis. And I would love to see that Gaethje fight. I would absolutely love it. And any of those fights, I mean, he said Poirier, he said Gamrot. Any of those fights I would love to see. Benoit Saint-Denis has earned it at this point. And honestly, he keeps winning like this. He could be a star in the sport. You know, it's getting a little bit ahead of myself, but Benoit Saint-Denis is, I mean, he's like a lightweight version of, I don't want to say even Jiri Prochazka, because he's more well-rounded, way more well-rounded than Jiri Prochazka in my opinion. I need to see Benoit Saint-Denis in a big fight in his next fight. Great performance against Matt Frevola, who's super game, has nasty power himself. And Benoit, I think he took one body kick in this fight. Outside of that, he didn't take anything. So he took no damage. I'd like to see him get a big fight in his next fight, early 2024. Give Benoit Saint-Denis a top 10 opponent next. Moving up on the card, we have Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. This was an ugly, ugly fight. It was better than anticipated. You have Mackenzie Dern getting finished in the second round. First round, Mackenzie Dern was actually winning. Even though Joe Rogan and the commentary team would have you believe otherwise, the first round, Mackenzie Dern was winning early. She got a takedown, got overzealous, looked for a guillotine on the way up, couldn't get it, but she was out striking Jessica Andrade. It was ugly. It wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing striking. It wasn't technical by any means, but she was winning in the striking exchanges in the first round. But then, at the end of the first round, she gets clipped badly by Jessica Andrade, and that's what won Jessica Andrade the first round. And without that, Dern wins the first round. But she gets clipped badly, and then it's all downhill from there. Second round, she gets dropped 3 times. She gets dropped 3 times. It was mainly left hook from Jessica Andrade. Mackenzie Dern's just rushing in, chin up in the air. Juliana Pena's school of striking. And with someone like with Andrade's power in that division, she's going to make you pay. And that's what Dern was doing. I mean, Jessica Andrade has been showing up for paychecks all year. I guess she decided to finally train for one. And unfortunately, it's Mackenzie Dern. But Joe Rogan and them are acting like Dern regressed and blah, blah, blah. No, she met someone with decent power. She didn't even look good against, Hill. She didn't even look that good. It was just she was better than Hill, and she was just the volume and pressure of Mackenzie Dern. She's not scared to get hit, and that's what ended up costing her in this fight. And honestly, it was an early stoppage. I know she got dropped multiple times, but she was very well aware when she got dropped the last time. And Jessica Andrade, the other 2 times in the second round, she waved her up. She just let her right back up. I'm not going to the ground with you. Nope, get up. And then would drop her again. But Mackenzie Dern was throwing, even right before the finish, Mackenzie Dern landed a couple good combinations. But the chin was right up in the air for the taking from Jessica Andrade. Referees tend to stop women fights earlier than men's fights. I don't really care about the stoppage by any means, but it was no doubt an early stoppage. I mean, but then again, if you're just putting your ass in the air like that, I mean, honestly, you deserve to be stopped after getting dropped 3 times. But she's like just waiting to try to use her jiu-jitsu. She was praying Jessica Andrade would follow her to the ground. But it was an early stoppage. The commentary was off for this fight. Dern's horrible, but she was having success in this fight. She was landing shots against Andrade, but Andrade showed up for this one for more than a paycheck and gets it done in the second round. Moving up on the card, we have Sergei Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall gets a first-round KO. My early prediction was so right. I hate myself for changing it. My early prediction was Tom Aspinall. I thought he was more athletic. I thought he was faster. I thought he had better footwork. I thought he had better striking, honestly. And I changed my pick because I'm like, he's taking it on 2 weeks notice. Pavlovich has been training this whole time. Pavlovich is on a tear. And I think I seen Tom Aspinall holding his chin up in the air, getting clipped by Arlovsky, getting clipped by Curtis Blades. I'm like, he's going to get clipped by Pavlovich. And he did get clipped by Pavlovich. Pavlovich landed one good shot. It was a nice left hand. And it was right on the chin of Aspinall. But Aspinall ate it. Aspinall was landing good low kicks. And then Pavlovich, after he landed that left hand, you could tell he got a little bit, more aggressive. And he walks into a massive overhand right from Tom Aspinall. Basically, as soon as that one lands on the top of the head, he's out on the feet. Then there was another right hand from Tom Aspinall. Then he follows into the ground and slumps him out cold even more than he already was, which he kind of already was, with nasty hammer fists. And Tom Aspinall is your new interim heavyweight champion. Let me just say this right now, and let me know if you guys want a dedicated video on this. Strip Jon Jones. If he's only willing to fight old man Stipe Miocic, strip Jon Jones. That could be the fight. But Tom Aspinall, to be the champion, you have to be willing to defend it against the most threatening contenders. And that's Tom Aspinall. That's not old man Stipe Miocic from 3.5 years ago. So Tom Aspinall, in my eyes, if Jon Jones isn't willing to fight him in 2024, Tom Aspinall is the real undisputed champion. Dana White doubled down on Jones versus Stipe, which nobody wants to see, which honestly, I might have to make a dedicated video on this. But Tom Aspinall, look super athletic, look very fast, look powerful. The chin is still sitting up in the air waiting for the taking, but he's so much faster than all these heavyweights. And now Cyril Gane's calling him out. He was ducking him before. He was ducking him and Pavlovich before. Now Gane's calling him out. Absolutely not. Gane can sit down. Gane needs to take a seat. You got choked out in 2 minutes. Take a seat. Jon Jones needs to fight Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall looked incredible. Tom Aspinall may be the new breed of heavyweight we've been talking about for years. He looked massive tonight, but he looked fast. He looked athletic. The head movement, I can't sing enough praises. He didn't even have to use his wrestling. I thought someone was getting finished in the first round, but I thought it'd be Tom Aspinall. And apparently, somebody told me this. I haven't confirmed this yet. But apparently, someone had said in the post-fight, Tom Aspinall hurt his back, couldn't even train for the last 2 weeks. Makes it even more impressive to go out there and start Sergei Pavlovich. Nasty KO. I've said this in multiple videos. Pavlovich looks like he trains head movement with Alexei Oleinik. He's very stiff with his head movement. And he's got away with it for a long time. I'm horrible at picking Pavlovich's fights, to be honest. And Tom Aspinall exposed him tonight. Landed those right hands just crisp. The first one, it was over after the first one. But Tom Aspinall looked good. Footwork looked good. Leg kicks were very, very heavy. Landed like 2 or 3 of those leg kicks. Never even shot a takedown. Starched out Sergei Pavlovich. I almost said starched out Tom Aspinall. I can't sing enough of Tom Aspinall's praises, and the only reason it hurts me is because I know Michael Bisping is just so happy. He's just so happy because he's been so biased for Aspinall for so long. But at the end of the day, he's earned that. Bisping's earned that. He's been on the Aspinall train for a while. Aspinall comes out. This is crazy. A year ago, Aspinall's tearing his knee up, getting wheeled out in the world's smallest chair, and now he's UFC interim heavyweight champion. And the real hardcore fans know. I'm not ready to say it just yet. But the real hardcore fans know if Jones is unwilling to fight Tom Aspinall, he's only going to fight Stipe. Tom Aspinall is your real champion. Jon Jones has forfeited that belt. He has forfeited the belt. Tom Aspinall is the real UFC undisputed heavyweight champion. Moving on to the main event, we have Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira wins via second round KO. And Alex Pereira is a 2-division champion. It's not simultaneous, but still 2-division champion. That's a massive accomplishment. And this fight was not an easy win for Alex Pereira. The first round, Alex Pereira was landing good leg kicks, even took Jiri Prochazka off his feet with one of the leg kicks. Midway through the round, Jiri shoots in on a takedown. Pereira defends up against the fence, kind of looking for a guillotine, but eventually Jiri kind of takes him down with ease. Then lays on top of him for a bit. Pereira really shows no ability to kind of get to a hip and get up. And then Jiri starts to open up in the last minute, land a couple elbows. But for the most part, Pereira's defensively responsible on the ground. Say what you will about him being a fish out of water on the ground, but he's not taking a whole lot of damage. And then Jiri starts to get more aggressive, like the last 20 seconds of the first round with ground and pound. Lands like one elbow, and then Pereira uses defense to get up, and then nothing really happens after that. So I gave Pereira the first round just solely based on the leg kicks, but I think you could give it to Jiri. Then in the second round, it looks like Yuri's going to start coming on stronger. He's landed some good combinations. Pereira's still landing, but you have Jiri kind of marching forward, landing combinations. There's one moment where Jiri marches forward, lands like 3 or 4 good punches. I thought he hurt Pereira, even eats a left hook from Pereira in that exchange. And then Pereira, they kind of back to the center. Pereira lands a couple more leg kicks. They clinch up for a little bit. Jiri never even really looked for a takedown on Pereira in that. I think it was a second clinch exchange in that second round. Or first clinch exchange in the second round. Doesn't look for a takedown. Kind of throws a half-hearted trip attempt at the end of the exchange. But Jiri exits out, and I think he's happy striking. I think he's ready to strike with Alex Pereira. He's seeing Alex Pereira start to fade. Jiri thinks, okay, I'm going to march him down now. Jiri marches him down, lands some good combinations, and just keeps throwing shots. And Pereira backs up against the fence. Boom, left hook. It was a short left hook, too. Pereira landed it, but there was really no extension on it because Jiri was like a foot away from him, right on the side of the left hand as well. And that left hand landed. He hurt Jiri badly. Jiri drops down to a double leg, starts looking for a takedown. Pereira starts throwing elbows to the side of the head. Pereira then, as Jiri falls backwards from those elbows to the head, Pereira ends up in full mount, but Goddard rushes in and stops it. And initially, I said, this is a horrible stoppage. This is an outright atrocious stoppage. And I still do disagree with the stoppage, but I don't think it's a bad stoppage. And I broke this down more in depth in my full breakdown of the main event. But when you saw it from the side angle, you see the elbows slump Jiri. And he's in on a double leg, and then all of a sudden his arms release. He's out. He's out. He even said he's out in the post fight. I don't think you can take too much away from that because guys get flash KO'd all the time. And I know people are using that kind of dying on the hill. Always said he was out, so it's case closed. What happened was Jiri got flash KO'd. Mark Goddard saw him in on the double leg. Then his arms kind of go limp. When he fell back, he woke up. But when Mark Goddard saw him go limp for that split second, Mark was already entering. And then Jiri woke back up by the time he got there. So I disagree with the stoppage, but I don't think it was a bad stoppage. I don't think Mark Goddard should get criticized like crazy for it. But I would have liked to seen Jiri go longer. You know, maybe he gets KO'd by, full mount ground and pound from Pereira. But I think Jiri was probably going to scramble out the back door. Maybe he gets finished on the feet afterwards because he's still dazed from the elbows. And those elbows were nasty, and they were all legal. I don't want to see him, appeal it. In any universe, could it be overturned, as I would say. But, dude, Alex Pereira gets it done. He's two-weight champion. He calls out Adesanya. I don't necessarily want to see that. At first, I thought it was amazing, but then I'm thinking, for meritocracy, how are we going to give Adesanya a shot in the light heavyweight division? I think it's got a great backstory. Jamal Hill is the true #1 contender. He's the former champ, never lost his belt. He should get the next fight as long as he's able to return soon or relatively soon. In the next 4, 5, 6 months. I think that's the fight that should be made. But I love Pereira. He said, I want to stay active. I absolutely love that for Pereira. But he gets it done. And, I think Jiri, I really do think he was suffering from some ring rust in this fight. He did look like he was slowing down a little bit. He did just look a little bit off. It didn't look like the Jiri we know and love from the Reyes fight or the Glover fight. He just looked a little bit off in this fight. He was feinting some takedowns, throwing some good shots. I felt like he was just starting to kind of shake off some of that ring rust in the second round. And he's starting to land some good shots. He was winning the fight up until the finish in the second round. He was winning that second round. I don't want to say he was winning the fight because I thought he lost the first round. But he was winning that second round up until the finish. And he just got overconfident. He was starting to land. I think he felt Pereira starting to wane a little bit. And he got over aggressive. And boom, he ate that left hook. And Pereira sat him down and then finished him off with elbows. Talk about a revenge tour for Glover Teixeira. Pereira may finish Jiri and then he may go after Jamal Hill next. Two of the last guys to beat Glover Teixeira. So Pereira may have one of the best stories in MMA. Gets it done against Jiri Prochazka. Savage win for Alex Pereira, the new light heavyweight champion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.